Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday or good afternoon, wherever you are tuning in from. My name is Angeline Constantinou, and I am the founder, coach, and podcaster of Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So welcome to the broadcast here. Welcome to my podcast. And you can find all new episodes, which are available at letsbreakthesilence.com. And please like and subscribe to my Let's Break the Silence with Angeline on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, Apple, and all the live streams. So welcome in, everyone. So great to see you here on this Friday morning. So if you are watching the live right now, please let us know in the comments below so we can give you a huge shout out. So I am super excited to bring a very good friend of mine. Her name is Dana Kaplan, and Dana is a retired award-winning classroom educator turned lifetime educator of the world. I help children permanently activate their positively powerful voice while guiding parents on how to release their conscious and unconscious biases, expectations, labels, and limits they place on their children and themselves. My work is highly focused on creating accessibility for today's youth to feel rich inclusivity, authentic equity, and unwavering belonging throughout their lifetime learning journey. Dana leads through the lens of curiosity, providing a safe and accessible space for all to gather with intentional wonder. Dana organically propels learners and families with highly effective communication skills for critical and possibly uncomfortable conversations. Through one-on-one private sessions, parent and youth workshops, professional development, and speaking engagements, Dana's niche approach to coaching and facilitating unleashes vulnerability, invites self-acceptance, and increases confidence. So, without further ado, good morning, Dana.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here on my podcast. So, Dana, what is the time where you are tuning in from, where you are broadcasting live?
I am in Florida, in the sunny, warm state of Florida right now, South Florida. And so it is a beautiful 11 o'clock sharp in the morning on this gorgeous Friday.
On this gorgeous Friday. And here, it rained all night here. Now it's getting colder, so the temperature, I think today's high will be in the 30s. I'm ready for peak weather.
Yeah, today's high, I think it's going to be in the 80s.
It's going to be in the 80s, see? Okay. That's just a 50-degree difference. So, Dana, welcome to my podcast. I am so honored and blessed to have you here. So, how did you get started with your career? Because, in child development, this is a very interesting topic, and something that has not been covered on my podcast. So, we're here to talk about the youth and children and, help them breaking through those self-limiting beliefs. It's fascinating, Well, so how did you get started in this field?
Really, really thank you for giving space to critical conversations, because we think more often than not, let kids play, let them go off to school, let them go to college, and let them find their way in the world. It's really not that simple. When we think about the essential components to education, we first focus on the social emotional development. And when I realized that the needs that I require as a human are not being met as a child, but didn't really know that as a child, right? I knew something was missing, but I didn't know what that missing link was. I also knew that there was a possibility that there was another way, but I didn't know what that other way was either, right? Because here it is, I'm a child going through all of the experiences, but feeling like something is not right. Little did I know I had different learning modalities. Little did I know I had ADHD. I knew that I was challenged by anxiety. I had unbelievable core beliefs about myself that were so deep-seated that I wasn't smart enough, or that I wasn't good enough, or that I didn't belong in various places and spaces. And all of those components really helped me see, if this is how I'm feeling, then how many other people are feeling this way? And education is bigger than academics. And so I'd always wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. It was my dream to be the best dressed kindergarten teacher in the world. My dad told me that I would have to make a lot of money, and being a teacher would not allow me to dress the way that I wanted to. So maybe I needed to reevaluate my choices.
Right.
And so at first I thought about it, and then I didn't. I did not reevaluate anymore. I did not go against what I really had my passion and vision for. And the whole premise behind my work is so that as children come into our space today, as parents engage with their children, it's really important that we remember that it's the child's journey, and we have to pay attention to what they need, what they desire, what they want. And most importantly, we have to ensure that children are seen, heard, valued, and loved, because those 4 elements are what provides a healthy, safe platform for curiosity, for self-compassion, for growth, for happiness and confidence. And when we allow those opportunities to unfold, then academics flourish, and kids are getting into the programs that they desire instead of their parents desiring, and they're doing what fills their soul. So going into early childhood education was both, at the time, a space of, I don't know what's broken, so I'm not coming in to fix anything, right? But I do know there are changes that are necessary. And I still feel that today. Everyone's doing the best that they can. So it's our responsibility to come in and, without the ego, right? Take away the ego.
Right.
Conscious choice to leave the ego at the door, and to come in asking questions, to come in and get curious, to come in and see, what do others need and want? Because when we come into a space asking what others need and want, we're not coming in from a state of judgment with preconceived notions. We're coming in with the curiosity and the availability to expand and grow collectively.
Right.
So that's really how it all unfolded. And so I went into the classroom, created multiple programs for early childhood in Atlanta, Georgia, and in New York City. And the one piece that consistently was missing throughout all environments was the level of belief and commitment to emotional intelligence. And so children can only thrive, parents can only thrive, humanity only thrives when we're given the tools to cope, to learn, to express. And if that's not given to us, then how do we function in the world? What do we do when we get a bad grade? What do we do when our boss yells at us? What do we do when our partner, asked us to get something at the grocery store and we forgot? What do we do when, the on empty because my child used my car yesterday and didn't fill it up as promised, right? What do we do in all of these essential moments in time? Because those choices and how we respond versus react play critical roles in how everyone else's day unfolds. How we show up is making the biggest difference. And so in early childhood education, I firmly believe that it is our responsibility to create a foundation for rich emotional intelligence. And it's not as hard as we think.
That's true. It's not hard as we think. Yes. I don't know if I can hear you. I think you said something, but you cut out.
I can hear you. You there?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Technology glitch. No, I think it's really important that we allow everyone to ask the questions, right? And when we go into spaces where we think we have to fix a situation instead of ask for what's really needed, that's where we immediately cause a problem.
Yes, I agree with you. Absolutely. Instead of fixing it, ask, what are their needs? Because it's, because this is an interesting topic, like I said, because, with domestic abuse and everything else, we're breaking the silence on, domestic abuse survivors. So, going back to early childhood, is that like one cause where, they didn't have the tools back then? Or
Absolutely.
I hope what I'm saying making sense, because I'm just trying to drive to something, going back to early childhood.
It does. You're absolutely correct. Even last night, I was listening to Super Soul Sunday with Oprah.
Oh, yeah.
And she was referencing how one of her abusers that her father knew about was in her home. And she was cooking eggs for him. And she stood there while cooking eggs and said, "This man abused me. What am I doing? This man abused me. What am I doing?" And she literally retracted to her 9-year-old self. And she explains how the whole process in her adult state reverted back to the 9-year-old silenced little girl. So yes, what happens in our absolutely plays a role in how we make choices. Prime example, I see my mom cower away, my dad yells at her. What am I taught? What am I being taught? My voice is not important. Mom doesn't get to talk. Girls are not good enough. Men are in power. Right? And those are just like superficial base. And that's just with screaming. So imagine then when you come in and say, and then you're scared. So the idea of not feeling safe as a child then plays a dramatic role in how you show up as an adult. You feel unsafe, most likely you're attracted to unsafe people because that's all you know is unsafe.
Okay.
That emotional addiction, which we like to use the word addiction very loosely, but this is really important to understand for our collective. An emotional addiction is when we have this underlying to feel that we only know because it happened to us in childhood. So prime example, I had to fix everyone's happiness. I thought I had to make everyone in the world happy.
There you go.
Okay. So because everyone happy, I'm a people pleaser. So my need to people please also fed into my need initially for I had to fix situation. Younger self inside my adult body was saying, "Go, I'm an educator. Go fix that place that you know you didn't get that you needed, and go prevent it from happening to other kids." So go in there and make the class perfect. Go in and make the world a beautiful place for everyone. Make sure you create your happiness.
Exactly.
Little did I know in my 20s that wasn't even a possibility. Not even my responsibility, right? I cannot bring or make anyone else feel a certain way. The only way that happens is if they allow it to happen to themselves, which is called radical personal responsibility. I take radical personal responsibility for the fact that I cannot make you happy. I cannot fix a situation, and I release my need, my personal emotional addiction to need to be a people pleaser.
Right.
On me. So that need, if I had not worked through that emotional addiction that was created when I was a child, who knows who created it? Who knows who it in my body? Dana, you need to be the helper. You need to always make people happy. Who knows? I have no idea where it came from, right? But it came from some place, and then it was fed. And the roots, that little seed of you need to make everyone happy, took root and grew and expanded and took over my entire being. And so, as simple as me needing to be a people pleaser, you also have others that have been in spaces where they've experienced or observed abuse. And there is a cycle. If people if others are watching it and accepting the way that people are being treated, then that behavior continues. So it's a really critical space in early childhood to teach, model, and embody I am my own opinion. I am my own value. I am my own worth. I I belong everywhere I go. I am always enough. Those core beliefs of wholeness allow us to make conscious choices and safe choices as we get older. And so, yes, the immediate connection. Oh, are you there? There's a glitch.
Yeah, the glitch. Is
it good? Are we good?
We should be fine now. Yeah, we should be fine.
The immediate connection between what happens in our childhood and what we bring with us into adulthood is my why behind my why behind my why for working with children now. It's no longer my need to fix a situation for anyone because no one's broken. I'm coming in to help enlighten. Now, as the conscious adult, aware of what I can and can't do, what I have the ability to do, I now know that my whole purpose in being an educator for early childhood is also making sure that we are supporting all humans across all places.
Oh, we have some really good comments here. Look at
I
this.
totally agree. Being a teacher myself, we have to be engaging in order to establish communication. Yes, you have to engage. You have to stop teaching to the curriculum. You have to stop paying attention to the test. You have to get curious about what is happening when a child walks through your door.
I like what you said. See?
Why are we so focused on the outcome of an exam when I'm watching a child come in through my classroom, throwing their backpack around at 17 years old? Like, there's got to be something to be looking at there.
Exactly.
Right? If a child coming into our room at 17
and throwing down, look, this is Senda, my friend Senda. Senda, hi, thank you for watching this morning.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you,
totally
thank
agree.
you. Work for the youth. See?
We've got a more responsibility. And it's scary. I'm not going to lie about this. It is very scary. The conversations that I've had with my parents over the past year with what I never shared with them has brought up, unfortunately, a lot of guilt and shame on their end. But I'm not guilting them, and I'm not shaming them, and I'm not blaming them. How are they to know? Right? They were doing the best that they could in the time that we were in. And because I'm so committed to having these conversations, they feel uncomfortable. I no longer call them hard conversations. They're uncomfortable conversations. You know, I don't want you to know that when I was 10 years old, I was told, like, you're a dirty Jew because I lived in the South. That's what people were taught by their parents. That's exactly what my parents experienced, right? So now I experienced being told that I was dirty because of my religion. And then I felt like I didn't belong, right? So there's all these, it was never my parents' fault. Right. And so it's really easy to go into the space of we like to blame and shame and guilt people for all the things that happen to us. But we actually take it back. We have to look at what was happening during that time. That time where these conversations happening. They weren't happening. They're happening now, which is why we are able to reframe, redirect, and refocus how we help children, how we help adults, how we engage in connections, how we engage in relationships, how we choose the job, how we choose our life partner, how we choose where to live, what street to walk down. And that's what it comes down to. So when you graciously and curiously invited me to join you on your podcast, that's really what the Bridge Connection is.
Exactly.
Right? It's all about fully embracing what happened when I was a child, releasing, like taking that self-awareness so deeply within that you can have rich self-compassion, rich self-respect, rich self-forgiveness in order to forgive everyone else around you. And that's a really important task to take on. It's a really important task to take on, but it's a commitment. And we have to teach that. We have to teach the commitment. We have to teach the process, which is another component of education that is outside of the curriculum, right? And so when we really look at early childhood, we really have to think and consider what is our purpose in education right now. Kids are not going to college. Kids are choosing not to go to college. The numbers in the public schools are dropping dramatically. In the paper every day, I receive some kind of new headline around education. It could be from New York to France to Hawaii to Australia. It doesn't matter. There's a commonality that is happening that was pre-pandemic and now heightened by the pandemic. The social emotional need of all humans is so deeply needed because adults have forgotten how to socialize. Adults have forgotten how to. Adults have age. They've lost their voice. And the reason for that is because their inner child has been activated in some way, some form, some fashion. So now they're going back to how they felt as a child during that uncertain time in their life, because that is what the pandemic did to all of us. It was uncertain. It caused fear.
That's true.
So now if adults are experiencing their old childhood, imagine what children are doing in their own childhood. What's being modeled to them, what behaviors are being taught, what communication styles are being taught, what actions are they seeing. So now more than ever, we have to be having these conversations.
Yes, we have to be having these conversations more than ever because, now that, children are being exposed to social media. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't have that. There was no social media, nothing.
And when we communicated, it was picking up a phone.
There you go, picking up the phone, going to a friend's house after school, and I was having this conversation about an hour ago, with a friend, like, back in the day, we watched cartoons, we watched our favorite cartoons back in the day. And he was saying that it's just so much, like it was so much better back then than now,
I don't know that it's necessarily better back then than now. I think I would actually look at it from the lens of evolution is brilliant. Science is brilliant. Allowing our minds to create is brilliant. I also think we have to look at it from the lens of what are we also doing to create a safe space so that as we continue to invent, as we continue to evolve, and as we continue to bring new into the world, that we're creating a safety for everyone to feel like they can show up and belong and not fear something happening to them. The amount of students or connections between students and families that have shared that through gaming, they've received hideous, scary texts about inappropriate language, threats, bullying, all the different components. And when you hide behind a screen or when you hide behind a game and you never actually see the person and you don't actually see, like you and I are actually having an honest, open conversation right now.
Right.
We're engaging, right? And while people are in your chat and they're writing notes down, they're engaging, but not on the same level as you and I are, right? And because you and I see each other, there's a different connection. And that connection, that rich connection that you can build being with someone, socially gathering like we're doing, is what's so essential right now. And that piece is what we have to think about. We have to think about how is technology allowing us together safely? How is technology encouraging us to get curious safely? How are we able to decipher language that is unsafe? Who's sitting with us to help us understand as parents? Also, right? Parents, we the amount of pressure that are on parents to understand and stay up to date with every single possible experience on virtual learning, on gaming, on technology. I mean, it's bananas. It's bananas. And to then have to go on your child, and if you miss one little thing, it's a lot of pressure. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was better when we were younger or better during your time of watching cartoons or better when, I didn't necessarily have complete full-time access to a computer. It was just different. It was still happening different ways.
Right. It's different. And now you see, like, I'm going to read George's comment in a minute, but like the kids are hiding behind the computer. They're on TikTok now. Some of them are on TikTok now. And
a lot of them are on TikTok.
And that's why the enrollment in public schools is down, because they could just cut out of school and go on TikTok. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Unless you're over 18, that's okay. But if they're under 18, I would have a problem with that as a parent.
So I don't have a anymore with TikTok. And it was actually a student that explained to me the beauty behind TikTok. She is a computer science major at Cornell, and encouraged me to start doing mini posts for children about anxiety, ADHD, family process, communication, all these different components, because she was struggling in one of her classes and needed help with one of the concepts. It was a 30-second clip on TikTok, and she understood the process like that.
Wow.
So when we think about, and I'm guilty as charged, because I said, but I thought TikTok was just like dancing and like, like
it's not.
No. And she's like, no, Dana. She's like, I'm not asking you to do it now. This was 2 years ago. Let me be very clear. This was right when I was developed. This is right when I launched my business. I had left the classroom, figured out that there wasn't enough emphasis on emotional intelligence in the classroom and in the school system.
Right.
And if we really wanted to see massive impact in the world, I had to leave, right? So here it is. I left the classroom. This was a former student, and now she's helping me figure out what is essential needs as I build my business around a website and social media and connection and marketing and PR, these components. And I have to learn TikTok now? And she's like, no, not yet. This was 2 years ago, like I said. So 2 years ago, she's learning computer science on an app that we have conscious biases about, because we think it's one way and it's really not. So it's not necessarily what the app is. It's not necessarily who's creating it and where we are. It's about understanding the need for the app, understanding the need for the connection, understanding the purpose of the user, understanding the purpose of the poster, right? The person that's posting. I mean, look, not for anything. I saw a TikTok video the other day that I was so disturbed by. It's also a person that's in the field of emotional intelligence. And I reached out to a friend that's on social media, and I was like, at all, it needs to be taken down. I don't know what to be doing. I don't know what to do around this. But this is not how the concept of feeling so poorly inside about yourself needs to be displayed into the world, right? So it's a collective consciousness that we have to be aware of. We have to be seeking out more than what we think, more than what's just in our realm, more than what's just in our bubble, right? We can't just put into, well, we have to wait till they're 18 to handle it. I don't want an 18-year-old to see the video that I saw the other day. I don't want a 50-year-old to see it. Yeah, we have to be really conscious on all of, do we really understand what the platform is? Do we understand what the platform is doing? And do we understand how we can create a safe space for parents to ask questions, with children not getting upset, with children to ask questions without feeling embarrassed, right? For parents and children to sit down and have these open, uncomfortable conversations around, well, what is a safe video to watch? What is an unsafe video to watch? How do you know if somebody is appropriately engaging with you, and how do you know if they're not, right? These are critical conversations that we have to have, because technology is not going away. It's a beautiful outlet. I don't necessarily love it for kids. I don't believe in iPads being younger years. That's a whole other conversation for myself, but that's going off of my own technology tangent. But at the end of the day, technology is here to stay. So instead of fight it, let's learn it. Let's get curious about it.
There you go. Adapt. Learn and adapt.
Yeah.
I agree. Absolutely. And I have TikTok too. And, I've made a lot of good friends on TikTok. I've connected with coaches and a lot of, really good people. And I think sometimes the parents feel pressured. They have kids, they want to go on TikTok, and then it's like, I don't know, just.
I think there's a lot of, we have to again think back to the core of what is our purpose, right? If you are, what is our purpose? Like, why are we making this choice? How is the choice going to benefit us and propel us forward? Or how will the choice actually hinder us and pull us back? And those are the questions that we have to consciously think about.
Exactly. Now I want to read what George said. Now, George says, I've been having to deal with situations that go beyond the expected classroom activities. It is quite a challenge because some teachers are not allowed to access to YouTube, while the students have it unrestricted in their Chromebooks. To make things worse, certain staff let them use the Chromebooks in order to keep them quiet in the classroom. I have never done that, and I will not do it either. So what would your response to that be?
I don't believe in keeping kids quiet. I actually, probably one of the funniest moments when I was teaching, the air conditioner broke in New York City in my classroom.
Oh my God.
And I didn't know what to do. And it was really hot. It was really, really, really hot. And it was just like, and I was on the bottom, my classroom was on the bottom floor.
Right.
And there was no air circulation going on. So I turned off the lights and I told the kids, I was like, listen, and I'm very transparent. I'm very open and honest. And I treat children as if they're equals to myself. I don't look at them as age components. I look at them as humans. And we had been studying the human body. And I said to them, I was like, listen, you guys, I cannot concentrate right now. It is very hot in here. I need you guys to quietly read a book because every time you speak, hot air is coming out of your mouth. And the more hot air that comes out of your mouth, the hotter our room is going to get. Does this make sense? Breathe into your hand. Clearly, this was my second year. I had started the Gifted and Talented program. So I started the pilot. So this was the year following. And I was like, so clearly pre-pandemic, this is like 2010. And I was like, breathe into your hand and see what you feel. And they're like, oh, it's so hot. I was like, great. So let's stop talking and let's sit quietly and calmly so that I can finish my work. We can get outside and we don't have to stay in here. And so one of the kids actually went back to their parents and said to them, Mom, stop talking. You're making the room hotter. Your breath is really hot. We don't need to hear you right now. And I was like, so the mom was furious, did not know where it came from. And of course, when she related the story to me, I started cracking up. And she's like, Dana, I cannot believe you're like this. And I was like, well, it came from me. The concept came from me. Do I agree with your child telling you to stop talking? Absolutely not. But I explained to the kids about the heat index in the classroom. And while I would never quiet them, I would never tell them not to talk. I had to explain to them why the more they did talk, the impact it was having on our room. So when I see notes like what George just shared about how giving kids iPads, giving kids Chromebooks, giving kids any kind of social media technology to replace interactive communication, I'm completely opposed. I mean, I remember I was shopping with my sister-in-law and my niece in New York City, and my niece was like maybe a year and a half, and we were in a store, and my sister-in-law had given her her phone, and I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm entertaining her. We gotta shop. And I was like, no. I'm like, I tried to take the phone back, but my niece was like already engaged with it, right? It starts young. So no, I completely agree with George. I don't believe in giving kids access to technology as a way to quiet them, to a way to ignore them. I believe in giving kids technology as a way to interact, to engage, to communicate, to get curious, to have them show me what's going on in their life. Like one of my students created their own YouTube video because I was promoting their voice in a positive structure. So he created his own YouTube, started doing workouts, started showing it with the world. That is using your voice in a positive structure. Right? That was me getting curious about my student, learning how he could use his voice in the world, helping him get his voice into the world, right? Showing up confidently. His happiness was through the roof, right? Everyone felt it. So that's using technology in a safe, amazing, constructive space. So it's really important that we're looking at what we're doing and what we're not doing to help all of us as a collective.
I totally agree with you. You brought out really, really good points. Let's read. So George says, is a platform that have 1-minute videos only useful to teach things that take days. Yes, with knowledge. I'm not on TikTok, not interested, although I could adopt in the future. Okay. We had the heat at full blast when it was warm. I kept drinking water to be able to function. Yeah, and being in a hot classroom in New York City is not fun. No, because it gets really humid in New York City. So that is not fun at all. Nope.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So very interesting. Like with TikTok, I'm on TikTok. Now, last year I started on TikTok in May. And before that, I didn't want to go on TikTok. I wanted nothing to do with the platform. Now, what I do like about the platform is, you could do short videos and, you could use that platform to monetize your business. Okay. Um, and also, spread awareness and everything. So that part I like about TikTok, about having a voice. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And the same thing on, Instagram. So
Yes.
the reason why Instagram and Facebook are doing reels now is because they took that concept from TikTok. So now they're implementing that on their platform. And, so it's very interesting. Whoever came up with TikTok, I think he or she did a great job, with the, putting the platform together. It's just the only downside is, unfortunately, and I love children and everything, but there are some children who are hateful. They will go on there and spread hate. And
So we want to look at that. We want to look at, and it goes full circle back to how being an abusive relationship
there you go.
influences how we show up in the world. If a child is being abused at home by a parent, they will then show abuse towards other people. We mirror,
unfortunately.
let me say that again. We mirror the behaviors that we are shown. We are the reflection of what we are shown. So, a beautiful example. I love to smile at people walking down the street. And when I moved to New York, first of all, I'm from Georgia, right? So here it is. I'm this Southern belle walking around the streets in New York, smiling, saying good morning, all the things. And people look at me like I'm, on drugs or drunk or like some typical something's not right with you, because the culture was not owning or comfortable or familiar with people saying good morning to random people, right? But what I was doing was what was mirrored to me as a child. My grandparents said good morning to everyone. My parents said good morning to everyone. It was a part of my culture and my upbringing. So I was mirroring, my behaviors mirrored what I was taught. But when a child is mirroring, when a child is seeing abuse or hearing abuse or feeling abuse, either emotionally, physically, all of the above, mental, they then project in different. And so it's very easy to hide on social media and to put up mean thoughts, mean attacks, mean words. You can make up a fake name. You can make up a fake account.
That's true.
Like even a few weeks ago, one of my dearest friends, who is a brilliant human, received some really poor ratings about her work. And I was like, first of all, this is all fraud. It's so clear that whoever created this account is the same person that created all the other accounts, because it was basically saying the exact same verbiage with the broken English. And I was like, we have to get this taken down. Right? So it happens when we're kids, and it happens when we're adults, and it happens all in between. The important piece is that we're conscious. Instead of saying, unfortunately, there's mean people in the world, we have to take a further step back and ask questions about what's causing the person to act meanly. What is causing the person to say or behave or do actions that are unsafe or unkind or disrespectful. We have to really get curious about it. And so having those connections, really looking at how we then choose our relationships in the future. We then see who are the people that we're involving with. Do I look for the person that is kind and compassionate? Absolutely. Do I feel the energy of somebody that is snippy and callous and sarcastic? Yes, and I stay away from them.
I agree. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, so I wanted to talk about something because we're coming up to the top of the hour. So, so you do one-on-one private sessions. So you do parent and youth workshops.
Yes.
And professional development. That's important. That's what's missing for the kids.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing that piece. I'm in conversation.
Got that out there.
Yeah, I do a lot of in-person and virtual workshops, both in museums and schools and corporations for adults, and learning how to have uncomfortable conversations with their kids, and giving them the tools on how to reconnect in a way that they need it, in a way that parents need that connection. Children need that same connection, but we forget. We forget when we're in the heat of the moment. Even last weekend when I was home with my parents, I had so many items still on my to-do list. It is now 7:00 at night on a Tuesday. I feel like I have not accomplished any, and I screamed at my parents and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I need a break." And I literally walked out, right? But that's me being human. That's me saying, okay, I've not worked out in 2 days. I am exhausted. I have a very long list. I am over prioritizing moments that are not important, right? So what do I need to do to take care of myself in order for me to show up the way I want to show up? How was I able to stop and pause in that moment and be where I was? Is because of all the work that I consciously do with everyone in the world. My practice is intentional. I took a break. That's fair. Came back 60 seconds later, apologized to my parents, told them what I needed to get done.
Right.
I really wanted to hang out with them and have these awesome conversations, but I needed 2 hours and we couldn't talk. We could not talk for 2 hours. I could not hear any noise. My ADHD meds were wearing off. I had so much work to still focus on. And they looked at me and said, "Thank you. Thank you for telling us what you need." So it doesn't matter what age you are, right? I'm still my parents' child.
I agree.
So as an adult, remembering that we forget and all we want is a safe space to feel like we are being seen, heard, valued, and loved. We want to create our own happiness. We want to confidently show up in the world. And so when I work one-to-one with families, it's very individualized. And when I do workshops, it's extremely tailored to the environment because I don't believe in coming in with a cookie cutter. I said this a few weeks ago, and it has now become one of the most profound statements I think I've ever actually said out loud. And it's that if we were meant to be in a box, the uterus was, but we were developed in a squishy, mushy, malleable space, which means we are all intended to be living and developing in a squishy, flexible space. So when I come in and work with everyone, I don't want you fitting in a box. I don't even know what box you're looking at because I ask critical questions to help me build the connection that the team and people need. I build the connections that the family needs. I ask the critical questions to figure out what is missing. Where are the missing pieces that are going on? Because once we can get down to the core of what isn't occurring, we can help it occur. We can plant the seeds, we can water it, we can nourish, and we can help the collective show up the way we want to show up. So all of my work, being from one-to-one to keynote speaking, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. My whole premise is making sure that you feel like you're the only person in the room, even though there's thousands of people sitting next to you.
Right. And you do parent and youth workshops, which is really good. Yeah.
I actually have one coming up on Tuesday. It's 2/22/22. The numbers really stood out to me. And then a friend who's really into numbers said to me, it's about the day of releasing and trusting and doing the uncomfortable. And so interestingly enough, of course I would pick a date when, the Northeast is on vacation.
Right. I know.
Like, oh well. I was like, whoever will show up will show up. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. And it's I'm excited because the way the conversation came up was around parents coming to me and saying, my kid came home again on a Monday and shut down. They were so happy Saturday. I don't know what happened. And it came from a child reaching out to me and saying, my teacher still won't answer my question. And it came from an entire family coming together and saying, I forgot how to ask for help because now I'm embarrassed that I really need help. And these were really important conversations. And the family that I'm referring to has children from the age of 1 to 17. So that's a really big spectrum, right? And so if we forget how to ask for help, next week is Massachusetts. I'm going to do it again. It's not a big deal. But 2022 is going to be a great day. And people can also buy the replay. So it's going to be available with a workbook and actionable questions and conversation starters that you can have, that you actually, Angeline, could take and do with your friends. That is it's also appropriate for a 3-year-old, right? These are questions that we all want to be asked, that we all want to be engaging with, that we may not necessarily speak up about, right? And so it's important to have them. And I think, ultimately, if we are willing to stop and pause to reflect on why we were asked to stop or what caused us to stop, then we're able to actually allow ourselves to be in the moment and to absorb what someone's saying to us, listening to learn, and then release the judgment, because ultimately all judgment is self-judgment. So if I'm judging you for the question you just asked, how dare you ask me that question? Probably because I'm taking it personally and it's affected me in some way or form. And so now I feel like I have to show up and do something differently. But that's just me making an assumption. That's just me bringing in a bias. That's just me unconsciously moving through life. So all of these components are really important for us to allow ourselves to get curious and to really and truly live the happiest and fullest life that we can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, what an amazing conversation for Friday. For Friday, what an amazing conversation. So where can people get in contact with you?
Definitely right now on my Facebook page, everything's posted about my workshop for Tuesday, for 2/22/22. And then you can go directly to my website at danakaplanteach.com.
Okay,
and then
write that down. It's Dana Kaplan Teaching.
danakaplanteach.com. No ing.
Okay. Okay, so let me put that in there. So, folks, for people who are interested in taking the parent and youth workshops on February 22nd, 2022, please go to Dana's website, danakaplanteach.com. And on there, because I went through your website, it's absolutely beautiful and everything. So do you offer one-on-one, like a free clarity call for?
Yes. So to be also very clear, transparent, thank you for that clarity. I am revamping my website. My beautiful sister-in-law and brother were like, you forgot to tell people you're doing this. You forgot to tell people you're doing that. And I was like,
oh wow.
And I was like, okay, well, let me go back and sit down. So to be really clear, I will not work with anyone unless we have a consultation call to be informed. And that 30-minute call is really important because we have to make sure we're both aligned. I do not want to be a Band-Aid for anyone. I will not be a Band-Aid for anyone.
I agree, me too. I'm the same way.
And so I have a conscious philosophy that is a theory behind toxic money, that a toxic money is paying someone to say they worked with you and for that person to then put their stamp on your arm as a seal of congratulations, thank you for working with me. But doing the work and working with me are completely separate. Doing the work is a commitment, it's intention.
Absolutely.
But working with me is toxic if you don't actually want to put it in. because I take it so personally. I take my work so, it is my purpose and my passion in the world to create a safer, better place for all of us, and especially today's youth. So when I choose to work with people, it is this immediate synergy that I know exists, and that comes out during a 30-minute consultation call. It's magical what you can figure out what people really need and what they want. And
Sure.
And during those calls also, you come up with, oh my God, I didn't even consider that piece. That's interesting. Let me consider. Right. And so it allows me to take feedback and from the parent about what they're experiencing. And then when I meet the child, regardless of how old they are, my newest client actually was so funny. My newest client called me yesterday. They're like, so my parents signed me up for a call with you. And I was like, yep, I know they did. The child is 25 and in their second job out of college. We're always going to be someone else's child. But the parents are like, we're not communicating with our child. We need help, right?
Okay.
So communication, connection, all of it. It doesn't matter if you're 5 years old or 45 years old. It's the desire to come together as a collective and make it a better space.
I like that. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's what we need today.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we need. So in closing, what is a special message that you would like to share with the audience who's going to be, obviously watching the replay or, listening to the podcast? What is the special message for the parents and their kids?
Please literally stop in your tracks. Look at the sky, close your eyes, and just be where you are. And remind yourself that everything you need is inside of you. Literally all of the decisions, all of the awareness, all of the answers. Trusting your intuition, trusting yourself is so essential. And if we can teach children today, the choices that they make will be their own. The numbers of suicide, the numbers of addiction, the numbers of any kind of catastrophic experience will drop exponentially when children learn to trust themselves, when adults learn to trust themselves. And so trusting within, that stopping and pausing and trusting within is so essential.
Oh, I agree. Trust. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Trust is so essential.
Yeah.
So Dana, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time from your busy schedule to be on my podcast, Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So we're breaking the silence and giving youth the voice.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited we connected.
And I'm so excited we connected too. So for those of you who got value here today, please hashtag value in the comments, and please share this live video out with someone who needs to hear this message. And again, regarding my Let's Break the Silence podcast, new episodes are available at letsbreakthesilence.com. The link is in my bio. And please like and subscribe to my podcast it's called Let's Break the Silence with Angeline on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, Apple, and all the live streams. We would love your feedback. And let's see what we have here. Okay, so George says, thanks, Dana. I sent you a message on Instagram about the situation I'm going until now. It is still going on, but I'm finally feeling better. Good. Awesome, George.
Yeah, I can't wait to connect.
Yeah, that's great. So please connect with Dana. All right, everyone. Enjoy your day. This broadcast is coming to a close. Dana, please stay for a few minutes after the broadcast. I wish you all a wonderful Friday. Happy Freedom Friday, and blessings to all of you.
Happy Friday, you guys.
Happy Friday. Bye.